Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Who's here? Who's here? Everybody, don't forget to hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. Sunday morning, 6:23. It's 59 degrees outside. Easter Sunday. Welcome, everybody. Who's here? How's it going, Zelda? What's up? Good morning, or good evening, or good afternoon, depending on where you're at. Welcome, welcome. Going to work. Well, how's everybody doing today? I'm doing good. Kind of nice and chilly this morning. Sun's coming out. Window a little bit here. A little bit cleaner. So, what's everybody doing for Easter? We're just gonna have probably some ham and some mashed potatoes. Yeah, we'll see what else. Everybody's gonna have their Sunday lunch, Sunday dinner. Yeah, so 6:25 in the morning here in California, 55 degrees. I don't see any wind. It's nice and fresh, clear skies, no clouds. As you can see, nice out there today. Welcome everyone. Everybody saying hello to everybody. Oh, gonna have the sun in our eyeballs today. Not clouds covering it today. So, yeah, look at that sun. Nice bright sun. It's a little hazy because you can't really see the sun fully. It's like covered with a bit of a haze, I guess. But yeah, it's kind of bright this morning. The sun is. I don't see a lot of traffic today. Everybody's probably sleeping in. So, yep. What was I talking about? Oh, yes. I was talking about my first car. I had a Mercury Marquise, 1970, two-door. Yeah, and it had a vinyl top. I removed it, and then I got it painted with what was it? I forget now. I think it was. I painted it a baby blue with the Metaflame. It was a nice color. We'll see how the internet does here in this area here. It's always going out. But we'll see. We'll see how it does today. Maybe it'll work fine. But it always seems to fade in and out here. So, yeah, so it was a nice car. It was my first car. I drove it for probably over 10 years. I drove it, and I ended up. The sad part of it is I ended up losing it because when I moved up north, then we ended up getting kicked out of our condo because my dad wasn't paying the rent. We didn't even know. We were there only 6 months, and then in those 6 months, he only paid 3 months of rent. So it's like we got a notice in the mail. You got 30 days to vacate the property. So we had to put everything in storage, and then I had another vehicle. My grandmother, she gave me a van. I forget what year it was, but it was from like the 70s, maybe 70s. No, it was actually, I'm sorry. It was from the 80s, I believe. So it was from the 80s, and then so I didn't have anybody to drive the other car. So by the time I went back, it had already been towed. Somebody towed it away. So it was old, and it was leaking transmission fluid. I mean, it probably needed a lot of work. I mean, sometimes it was funny because I would start it up, and then it had electrical problems afterwards because wires get old, they start rubbing against each other, so it was funny because I would turn on the like the wiper blades or the headlights, and then all something it would start flickering, and the dash, and all kinds of stuff. I think even one time it turned off, so I'm like, oh man. So it was having already problems. But so we used to drive, I used to drive it back and forth to work and stuff. It was a good car. I mean, it wasn't very economical. I mean, it had a 429 in it. 4-barrel carburetor, double pumper. And So I just I ended up losing it because I when I moved away, I got a letter in the mail, that I owed. I mean, the car, I didn't pay very much for the car. They wanted to charge me a bunch of money for the tow and for the storage of the vehicle, where they had it. But then the thing is, it was still in my name, so they couldn't really sell it. So what they did, they sent me a letter saying, um, I would, if I signed the papers over to them, then basically they would, they would basically just zero off the balance of whatever for the storage and all that. I mean, they could have probably, because it was a junkyard, so they could have probably sold it. A lot of times they do. They sell stuff without getting permission. But yeah, I signed it over to them. I said, what the heck? Because I already had the van. My grandmother gave me the van. She gifted it to me. I didn't have to pay nothing for it. So I drove that for about another 10 years. And that one was a bear to change the spark plugs on it, because it had the short front end. So the engine was inside the vehicle halfways and halfways outside. So there was some spark plugs you could barely get into. You couldn't get into them from the top or the bottom because they had all this stuff, from the smog stuff on it, all the smog lines going to it. So I hated that thing doing the spark plugs on that. It had a V8 in it. It had a 350 engine in it. And then my uncle, one time, he's all like, one of my uncles was like, it's so easy. You can change the spark plugs on. I'm like, oh, okay, well, go ahead. He started, and then he was like, oh man, he found out how hard it is to change it. He ended up doing it for me, but then he's all like, you know what, never again. He goes, never let me do them again. I'm like, well, you said you could do them easily. But he wanted to prove me wrong, and he proved himself wrong. Yeah, so then after that, when I was up north, I had the van, and it started running. It started having problems, and it was either the carburetor. It ended up being one of the fuel lines going to the gas tank. It was sucking air because it would lose power, like it wasn't getting any power. So what it was sucking more air than gas. So it would turn off completely, and then at a certain temperature it would get worse. So they did a bunch of things to it. They changed the distributor, rebuilt the carburetor until finally found out it was the gas line. But even they changed the fuel pump too, everything. But it's kind of like when you go to the doctor, they do all these tests. Well, everything shows good, so they start doing certain things, start guessing, the guessing game. But yeah, so then we got it fixed. It was working fine. The starter was going bad too, so we replaced the starter. Because then if it wouldn't start, I had to go underneath the car and tap on the starter for it to start up, because it didn't want to crank over. But then I was up north, and I went to a dealership. Well, it wasn't a dealership. It was a car lot that sold a bunch of cars, like used cars. and I saw a 66 Chevy Caprice, you know, 66 Chevy Caprice. So I'm like, oh, that looks nice. I like the way it looked and everything. You know, it had about probably like 80,000 miles on it or something. And they wanted like, I think they wanted like 5,000 for it. Like 5,000. I'm like, oh. So I had the van. It was a window van. It was they had two front seats. The van had two front seats, and then it had two bench seats. It had a lot of room in the back, so it was a pretty big van. It was a 10, a half ton van, and it was one of those full size. It wasn't any of those minivans, you know, like the ones that they're making afterwards. so so then you know, the minivan, you know, it was and it was all messed up. I mean, they had already had some, because before my grandma gave it to me, she had loaned the van to one of my cousins, and then she took it to Disneyland, and somebody ran into the corner of the van, you know, on the passenger side, so it messed up the no, I'm sorry, it was the right side, the other driver's side. So it already messed up that side. The door wasn't, you know, it wasn't closing proper. It started getting worse and worse. Then I ended up hitting the other side, so I messed up both sides. So pretty much I used to get on and off through the slider. I wouldn't even open up the passenger or the driver's side. I would jump out of the vehicle through the sliding door, the big door. And so then when I went to the place, you know, they're like, oh, they like the van, you know, because vans, you know, to them, vans are worth a lot of money, because, you know, you can use them as cargo vans. You know, you can remove the seats. You know, it's pretty good. It's almost like a truck. So the guy wanted the van. You know, it's like, he goes, oh, do you have the pink slip to it? Like, yeah, I got the pink slip to it. Well, let me see how much it's worth, and this and that. And then they're like, well, you know the van, you know, we'll take the van in, because I tuned it up right before I took it in, this way it would run a little better. And it had a burnt valve on it already, because even the guy tells me, well, you know that the van has a burnt valve. Oh, okay, well. So then he like trying to, well, you know, give me the van and $1,000, you know, payments, you know. He wanted me to do payments on the car so he could get more money. I'm like, no. I'm like, I'll give you 500. I told him, I go, I'll give you $500 and the van. So he's all like, no, 600. You know, he's all like 600 and the van. And I'm like, no. And then I said, look, no. I said $500, and then they're like, no. I'm like, look, all right. You know, this is my final offer. I'm like, it'll be $600 cash. And the van, I'm not going to go any higher. If not, I'm walking. And they're like, oh, no, okay, we got a deal. But then I didn't have the money with me. It was at the bank. You know, I said, well, I need to go to the bank and withdraw the money. You know, so they're like, oh, okay, all right. So then when the guy from the car lot, you know, he goes with me to the bank. He was me and my dad. And then we go and get the money out. You know, it's like, okay, you know, because we just drove the car. It was pretty good. I mean, they had the cheapest paint job on it, of course. You know, but later on, I had to paint it. because every time I would wash it, the rags would the rags were coming out. The blue was coming out of the rags, and this was had a vinyl top, black vinyl top, blue paint job, you know. So then I said okay, and we made a deal. Got it. They gave me the car, a 1966 Chevy Caprice, 2-door, and then I'm driving it. I'm driving the Caprice, around. It's like it hasn't even been a week since I have it, and everywhere where I drive, people coming up to me, hey, you want to sell your car? You want to sell your car? I'm like, no. I mean, they wanted to give me, a lot of money for it, and I said no, because everything was on there, all the chrome, everything was on the car. It was a nice car. So then I drove that one for a long time, and then I would visit my relatives, go back and forth, and then one time I visit relatives, and then I was coming back, and it was because it was like 9-hour drive, to get back home up north, in San Jose area, and then by the time I on halfway there, the car hit 100,000 miles on it. Boom. And when it hit 100,000 miles, I guess whoever had it, they didn't keep up the maintenance, I guess, on it. So basically the valves, it started leaking oil through the valves. So smoke, oil, it started using a lot of oil. So the engine was going to get shot. The engine was getting shot. I mean, I was having trouble starting it because of all the oil getting pumped into the engine. I mean, I'd leave like clouds of smoke every time I would start it up. I went to one gas station. I said, hey, give me a case of oil, a 12 cans of oil, and then I would be driving it, for a couple of miles, and then it was like burning oil, like crazy. And I was trying, come on, baby. I was like, come on, baby, you can do it. You can make it, make it home. And I'm like, oh man. So I'm like, man, it was like almost making it. Then there was I put the last quarts of oil in it. Then I made it to the last little town, on I-5. There was this place called Lost Hills. It was Lost Hills, California. And I pulled in there, and then I'm like, oh, man, that's it. I'm not going to spend any more oil on the car. So I'm like, well, I'm gonna park it. So I parked it next to the, somewhere where it wasn't gonna be in the way. And I told the guy that was working at the gas station. I told him, I go, you know what? My car broke down. I'll be back. Don't tow it away. Because they'll tow cars away if they're sitting there. I told him I'll be back for it. I'll be back for it tomorrow. So then and this was and then to top it off, it was on a Sunday. Can't get a hold of anybody on a Sunday, and it was Super Bowl Sunday to top it off. So I'm even listening. I'm on the radio listening to the Super Bowl Sunday, and So then I told the guy, please don't throw it away. I am coming back for it. It's not going to be abandoned. So then I called my mom. I'm like, hey, mom, get some, we had some church people that, friends. I go, hey, I need somebody to come and pick me up. I go, because I still had to get, it was like still like 3 hours. It's 3 hours still to get home. So somebody was going to pick me up 3 hours this way, 3 hours back, 6 hours trip. So some people from the church, I told me I'll pay them for the gas, whatever the gas cost, and stuff. So then I'm like, geez, like what, so I got, they got all I guess, and then to top it off, I had the car full of stuff because, we used to go to Mexico, get a bunch of candies, a bunch of stuff, and then my mom, oh, give me this, blankets, good, they were good prices, and so my the friends that came, they had a pickup truck, so I loaded everything off the car, put it all in the pickup truck, welcome everybody. So I loaded up everything in the back of the truck, and then they took me home. So I had to wait till Monday because Monday, of course, because there's nowhere to get anything, on a Sunday, and it's going to cost a tow truck. I checked around, see how much a tow truck was. It was like, oh man, it was going to be really expensive because it was 3 hours, to tow the vehicle. I had insurance, but still, it only covers like up to 50 miles, or to the next town. So I'm like, I need to tow it myself. So I went to the U-Haul, and I rented a hitch. Because the '66 Chevy Caprices, they had those big chrome. Back then, cars had real bumpers. Nowadays, you hook up anything to the dang bumper, the bumper will just come. You probably drive a vehicle. It's happened to me before. You go over the parking, that cement block, and here comes the bumper off. All the plastic, because it's all held by plastic rivets. So back in the day, the '60s and '70s, all the bumpers, they were like chrome, and they were basically hooked up to the car. I mean, when you towed a vehicle, you could hook up to the bumper, and it wasn't gonna fall off. And you hit somebody with that bumper, man, it was hard. So I got a hitch, that I could hook up to the hitch of the truck that I borrowed. And this lady, that friend of ours from church, she had a truck, and she goes, hey, well, I'll let you borrow it, but I'm going with you. I'm like, oh, okay, all right. So and then the thing is, I've never towed a vehicle, so I'm like, but I had my toolbox, I had all my tools, so I got the hitch, hooked it up to the car, nice and tight, make sure nothing was loose. Then the hitch to the truck, and turn on the flashers, unlock the steering wheel, so the steering wheel would be driving straight, and then but kind of like tied the steering wheel down so it wouldn't turn. We don't want it to turn and end up flipping the car. So then I drove it with the flashers on, and then the thing is, I kept checking it, every time, because it was, those hitches, they come loose. Even after you tighten them, they still come loose. So every so many miles, I pull over and tighten them up. Then I pulled into a gas station, fill up the gas, and then after that, we pretty much, just almost went, and it did come off one of the things, and then I checked it again, put it back on there, and tightened it up again. But we made it safe back home. And the thing is, I had to go back to work. I was working like 30, like 25 minutes away from where I lived, and so I ended up having having to get, the good thing is where I live, there was buses all over. So, there was a bus, like, it would drop me off, like, almost right at the house. I'd have to walk maybe a couple of blocks. And then at work, it would drop me off, like, right in front. But, sometimes I would have to wait, like, half an hour for the bus, especially at nighttime. But, it was good. I got, I got the vehicle back, then found somebody that would rebuild it, because I mean, I could have rebuilt it myself, but the problem was where I lived in apartments. In apartments you can't have a vehicle there because they're also going to tow it away because it doesn't get moved. And you can't work on your vehicles. You can do maybe an oil change real quick, and that's about it. But other than that, they didn't allow you to do anything, any kind of mechanical work on it. So I told this guy, well, how much, because I got pretty much, I wanted to redo the whole car. I got the engine, I got a rebuilt engine for it. I had a 420, this one had a 327 Chevy 4-barrel carburetor. And it also had a automatic transmission. I think it had a power glide in it. And then also I think the transmission was a 327 power glide, I think. So then they sent out the transmission to get rebuilt. I got the engine rebuilt on it. Then I told him, I go, you know what? I want all, because the thing with this one, it had drum brakes all the way around. So I had everything, new wheel cylinders, new drum brakes, and then also I had all the shock, new springs. I mean, I made it like a brand new vehicle, new tie rod ends, new ball joints. Then they found out that one of the A-arms was bent, so they had to go look for that one at a junkyard. They found a good one. So they got that, and then everything got rebuilt on the car. So the only thing it needed was a paint job, because the paint job, it was getting faded. So I got rid of so everything, all the underneath. So it was like a brand new car, like when you get out of the like 1960. It was pretty much like new. The seats were still nice, they weren't burnt or anything. It had the split bench, and then it was all like diamond tuck interior. And so then I go, okay. So then there was a guy I used to drive, where my apartments were. There was an old man, and I used to drive through the alleyway, and I used to always see him. He was always fixing cars and painting them. So, and I told him, I go, hey, I showed him my car, and I said, hey, well, how much would you charge me to paint my car? And he looked at it, and he goes, if you buy the paint and you help a little bit, with the labor, like sanding, any kind of sanding and stuff, I'll do it for $100. I'm like, okay, $100, that's fine. I go, and it had a black vinyl top, so I said, but you know what, I want to remove the vinyl top, because the vinyl, underneath the vinyl, I could tell it was like rust starting to get. So, I didn't want it all rusted out. Plus, vinyl tops, they don't last very long. It was pretty, not that old, but then, it's going to be outside. It's going to get all burned, start breaking, and it's going to end up ugly. So I told the guy, you know what, I want to paint it two-tone. So I said, a baby blue on the bottom and then a white top. So he goes, oh, okay, that'll work. So buy the paint. Give me the money for the paint. So I think the paint was like ended up being like about $60. So for about $160, I got the whole car painted. And I helped them out a little, with the sanding and stuff. I mean, the body. The good thing was that the body was real good. I mean, there was no dents in it, or anything. Everything was straight. So yeah. So I got it all repainted, so it was all like new. And it run real good. And so they. Then I had a problem with the engine. There was a problem with it. It was leaking oil from one of the valve stems. So I had a warranty. So I took it to the shop. They fixed it. Not the guy that did the engine in. He put the engine in, but this one was a remanufactured engine. So that I purchased at Kragen's, and I got a discount on it since I worked there. So I got a good price on it. But so at the end, I rebuilt everything on it, and then I had it painted. It was a nice car, and I drove it for a pretty long time. Then I wanted then that's when I saw the Mazda trucks, the B2000. It was and I liked them. I said, you know what, I want to get a truck. So I looked around, and then I saw a truck, because I had so I had the Mercury Marquis, and I had that Chevy van, then I had the '66 Chevy Caprice, and then after that, I looked at the Mazda B2000. And it was the last year that they did with carburetor. If I would have waited, I would have got fuel injected. It would have been better, more power. But I got the carbureted one. And then I went to the dealership, and I go, you know what? I want to get that. And I had some money in the bank. That was the first time I ever bought a brand new vehicle. 0 mileage. So and then I had pretty good credit. I had built up my credit, and then I went, and they're all like, well, because you're a first-time buyer, this and that, the dealerships, they always they don't want to deal with you, but if you know how to walk away, they're gonna kiss your butt at the end. So I told the guy, well, because you need a co-signer. Do you have anybody that can co-sign? I'm like, no, I don't have anybody, it's just me. Oh, well, you need a co-signer, or else, we can't. I go, you know what? That's all right. I'm going to go somewhere else since you guys don't want to deal with it. And then they're like, oh, no. Okay. Let me see what we can do then. They finally worked out a deal. I think I was paying like $270 a month. I forget how many. I think it was made for 5 years. Because the truck, I think it was like 17,000. Brand new, and then I put in a stereo system. It was a King Cab B2000, so I had all this room in the back, and it wasn't one of those. It was one of the more nicer King Cabs, the mini trucks, because in the mini trucks, they have the Nissans. The Nissans, you'd have to sit like sideways. You would sit sideways. You wouldn't sit. Like facing forward. So in this vehicle, all 4 people that would sit in your truck could sit forward. There was a lot of leg room in it. So I mean, it was so big back there. I put a big boom box. I put 4 speakers and tweeters on the box. It was 2 10s and 2 12s I put back there, the speakers. And then I installed the whole system, the radio and amps. I had 2 amps, Fosgates. I had a Fosgate 45 for the mid-range and tweeters. I had 2 other speakers in the front, and then I had also the other 4 speakers, and that one was with the 4 speakers. I had a 150 amp Fosgate, and these were good amps. I mean, they could pump you could really thump the music. I mean, I could put a quarter on the roof of the truck and it would flip it over, like boom, boom. And I remember one time I was outside washing my car, in the alleyway, and I was playing the music. It was like full blast. And I had a CD player in it, and then when I would put CDs, I had a lot of bass in it. It would like rumble, shake stuff around. And then the neighbor from behind us, from his house, he comes, "Hey, lower the music. Damn music is shaking my house." I guess it was, he exaggerated, he just being a bad neighbor, I guess, as I say. So then, I got all the speakers and everything, and then I used to thump it while I used to cruise around town. And then one time I could raise it up to like the volume. I could go up to like 10, but I used to play it like maybe like 2, maybe 3. Then it was pretty loud. I never put it up that loud because it would like boom, like really, because it was pretty strong. And one time I'm driving, and then all of a sudden, I'm going downtown, and then all of a sudden, right behind me, after I pass this one street, I see a cop behind me, and I'm like, ah, shit, When I saw him like far away, I'm like, I lowered it, I lowered the music. Yeah, so I lowered the music, and I'm like, he turned the lights on, and he pulled me over, and I'm like, shit. I was driving fine and everything, but then he's all like, he goes, the reason I pulled you over was because your music is too loud. He goes, I'm like, what do you mean my music is too loud? I'm like, I only had it on like on 3. I'm like, he's all like, yeah, that's too loud. When I can hear you, he's all, when I can hear you before I can see you, it's too loud. He goes, I'm like, oh, okay, all right. So it was I forget how much it was. It wasn't that. It was like maybe a $30 ticket or whatever. I forget how much it was. It wasn't very much. But then so he's all like, so it's like get, so I'm like, oh, okay. And then so then I paid it, and then after that, then one time we went cruising. We used to go to Salinas and cruise down the boulevard, all the low riders and all that. So then I used to pick up some girls that I knew, and we used to go cruising. And then my truck, I had it lowered. I lowered it all the way down, and it was I put blocks in the back, leaves, and then in the front I just lowered the torsion bars. And it was just hitting the little rubber chassis bumpers, and it was just not that many inches, they had enough clearance in the tires and stuff. So then when I was cruising, the guy, cops are always harassing people, they'll try anything just to, give you a ticket, the lucky thing is, he was too busy, because he could have got me for seatbelt, because I had a bucket seats, and then in the middle, because it was a stick shift, and it had a middle space between the seats, but I used to put fold up a blanket so somebody could sit there. So we can, and I guess he thought it was a bench seat, but he never noticed that she wasn't wearing a seatbelt. The one in the middle could have got a ticket for that, but no, he was too up that and then he goes, oh well, I'm going to give you a ticket because your tires are sticking out too far. And basically it's a fix-it ticket. In other words, so you need to go somewhere and either get different size tires or put some fender flares. So then I'm like, oh, okay, and then he tried to say, oh well, your suspension, because you got rigid suspension and this and that. So then I had to get the. I go, well, what do you mean rigid suspension? Yeah, it's an unsafe vehicle to drive. That's what he told me. Unsafe vehicle. I'm like, come on. I go, sports cars, they have rigid suspension, and that's because of the handling. He was just making an excuse just to give me a ticket on it. He was being a jerk. So then I told him, I go, okay, all right, whatever. So then I checked in. I said, okay. I looked and see how much, because the rims I had, because I had already gone through like two different kinds of rims before, because I bought one set of rims. I got tired of them, so I sold them, got new tires and different rims. The ones that were sticking out further, and they were much nicer rims. So then I said, wow, if I have to buy new tires and rims, that's going to cost me like about $700, for the tires and rims. So then I said, wow. So I looked into the fender flares, you know, they were Bushwhackers, brand name, the brand name of. Let's see who's in here. Let's see who's in here. Was Zelda, Fernex, Debbie, Sailor Moon. What's up? Sherry Lynn. Hey, what's up, Ross? Sherry. Yeah. So then I looked into those fender flares, and they come black. So then, and my truck was silver, but I'm like, you know what? So I checked in how much the fender flares was, and then how much for like a body shop to install them and paint them the same color, match the paint. And it came out to about $700. So I said, oh shit, I'll do that. And it was perfect because it covered the tire just enough, and it made it even look even better, the truck. So it was real nice the way the truck looked. So I said, and then I got the ticket wrote off. I told the cop, I had friends that would, all right, it's fine, rigid suspension. So I left it the way it was. So I didn't get a ticket for that. And then basically I just, didn't go cruising over in Salinas anymore because, the cops just didn't want like people cruising the boulevard, So because we, caused more traffic jams. But the only traffic jam was people that wanted to cruise. Everybody knew, that one boulevard. So then I got it painted, and all that, yeah. So then once I got it all painted, and I got it, and it was all nice, and so I had that truck, for a pretty long time, and then I got married, and then my wife's like, you need to sell the truck. I'm like, why? Oh, because it's stick shift. She didn't know how to drive stick shift. So she's all like, yeah, I don't like stick shift. And the thing is, even she just didn't she wanted me to get rid of it. And then the bad thing was, I mean, she never drove it anyways. So, and then we got the Mustang. So I sold because my brother-in-law, he liked my truck, he liked my Mazda truck. So, hey, sell me your Mazda truck. I'm like, okay, I'll sell you the truck, but if you want it with the whole the whole radio system, it'll be this much. And he's all like, oh no, I'm not gonna pay you that much for it because I go, I'll sell it to you for $2,000. That's it, $2,000. And I go, but if you want me to leave the stereo system, it'll be more. Oh, because I paid good money for it. And he's all like,
Like, oh no, I don't wanna pay. I don't wanna pay that much money. I'm like, okay. So I took the amps out. I took the I pretty much took everything out and just left the radio in there. You know. So I took everything out. And and he's all like, "Oh, okay." And then he took forever to pay me. I mean, and then he didn't know how to take care of cars or anything. He never checks the oil or anything, so he ended up burning up the engine. You know, but I'm like, oh well, whatever. It's not mine anymore. So then I had a Ford Escort and I had a Ford Mustang. You know, '99, and I still have the Mustang, but the Escort I got rid of that one. Then I got a then that's when I went to start buying Corollas and got a 2009 Corolla. I got a 2000 and no, a 1999. Yeah, 1999 Corolla. Then from the 99, I went to the 2009. Then now I got the 2017 Corolla. That's what I'm driving now, and I still have the Mustang. But yeah, thanks everybody for coming in. Good evening, good afternoon, or good morning for everybody that came in. Thank you. God bless you. And remember, as Keys says, call your mama, tell her you love her, or your dad. And you never know how long you're going to have them. And have a good one, everyone. Till next time. Bye.